Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now last week was kind of a downer episode, but I think we needed it, mainly because that was on my mind. But this week we're going to have a better episode because we're going to talk about heroes. No, not the heroes you see on television or in the movies. We're going to talk about real heroes. People doing everything on their everyday lives, but do something that helps somebody else. Total strangers helping others. Sometimes it's a doctor, sometimes it's a total stranger that comes upon an accident. But we're going to talk about those people because they're so important. First of all, as I said last week, my wife ended up having blood clots after having COVID. She developed blood clots. And she didn't know what it was. She didn't know she even had a problem. So she was doing physical therapy, and she was telling her physical therapy that her leg was hurting. And he goes, well, tell me what's going on. I mean, because she was going to say, well, let's take it easy today because my leg is hurting. But he kept asking her questions. You know, some doctors or some physical therapists would have just blown it off and said, oh, she just doesn't want to work out today or whatever. But in this case, he asked questions. And he asked him, so he goes, well, let me check out your leg. And then he checked out her leg and immediately told her, go to your doctor right now. Do not do anything else. Go to your doctor. I'm afraid you might have a blood clot. I've seen this before. Go to your doctor. And of course, when hearing that, my wife did go immediately to her doctor, who sent her to the hospital to get a scan, and then they found out she had the blood clots. But if it wasn't for her physical therapist, who went above and beyond, he asked questions instead of just blowing it off. He asked questions. And he saved my wife's life. We actually know his cousin, and so we know that I'm able to thank them and tell them how grateful we are for him, that he did his job, and we appreciate it. It's amazing, just doing one thing and helping others. Then there was my daughter's auto accident. Now, shortly after the accident, a car came up from the other direction. It was a couple in the car. They got out of the car, and they could have just bypassed the accident, ignored it and gone on, but they stopped. I mean, many people seeing an accident and not seeing an emergency service, they will stop and see if anybody needs help. And they went to the truck driver and says, have you called 911? And the truck driver goes, I haven't called 911. Why should I call 911? There's a car in your trailer. I mean, it's just hit your trailer. My daughter was, of course, in shock. She had a broken leg. What does the truck driver do? He starts screaming at her, why didn't they slow down? Even though, he was right over a hill, so they couldn't see him until the last minute, and then his headlights blinded them. But I won't even go into that. But this woman, she, of course, immediately called 911, told her there's been an accident. As I said, the paramedics thought they were dealing with fatalities, so they were so shocked. Her friend had to be cut out of the car. You should see what was left of the car. I will try to include a picture of it in this video. Can't guarantee it. It was amazing that anybody survived, but they had to cut her out of the car, but she did okay. My daughter got out of the car and with her broken leg and then fell into a ditch. But the lady that had stopped, she got out of her, she went over to my daughter and comforted my daughter and waited for the ambulance to show up. And my daughter was really upset, did not know what, just in shock. And didn't want to go to the hospital, was scared to go to the hospital, didn't know what was going on. So this lady who never met my daughter before just told her husband, meet me at the hospital, and then jumped in the ambulance. And with the permit, since COVID was over, she was able to ride in the ambulance with my daughter and comfort my daughter until she got to the hospital. And so she came out of the hospital, said, I was with your daughter, she's doing okay, and then left. Fortunately, my daughter did get her name and phone number and did thank her, and we thanked her, and she didn't want anything from us. And I mean, we wanted to give her something because she possibly saved our daughter's life, but she was just there and she did it. So we have to appreciate those people that come into our lives sometimes and are just, they just help. Last September, about 3 months before my wife's stroke, she was walking our dog and she was crossing the street and tripped and fell. And once again, gentleman stopped and helped her up, and made sure she was okay to walk. She ended up with a fractured wrist and a fractured ankle, but she was okay. But you just never know when you're going to be needed to help somebody else. And hopefully you will be there to help, others. I don't know if I've ever been that important to somebody. I hope I have. I tried my best. I am so thankful, though, for those people that have come into our lives, been there, and just want to thank them. I want to thank them because they are angels. They're angels among us, just doing their lives. But when something happens, they're there and help out people. And thank them, because there is so many good people in our world. You must remember that. There are many good people in this world that are there and will help somebody else in the time of need, especially when something like that happens. So hopefully you've been, the angel for somebody else, or hopefully that opportunity will come along to you. Remember, it's the dawn of a better life. Your life can improve starting today. It's up to you. And I hope either somebody is there for you when you need it, or your family needs it, or when, you're there for somebody else. Have a great week. And think about those angels among us.